The amazing transformation of a doctor who married a homeless woman to escape his fate. Dr. Adam Turner had it all. The crisp white coat, a corner office in Springfield's premier hospital, and a reputation that soared higher than ever. But beneath the accolades lay a restless heart, battling with a lineage of medical titans, a legacy that demanded perfection. Every surgery and consult was underscored by the suffocating weight of his family's expectations, a relentless reminder that success was measured not just in skill, but in adherence to a rigid standard. As a prominent surgeon, he shone brightly, but he felt invisible under the facade, lost in a maze of pressure and obligation. On a fateful Thursday evening, Adam found himself at a community health clinic, a sanctuary of humility in stark contrast to his world. It was here he met Sarah, a woman whose laughter sparkled like sun-kissed hair, illuminating the drab environment. Her infectious spirit drew him in, igniting a flicker of something he hadn't felt in years: connection. In their candid conversations, Adam learned of her struggles against overwhelming odds, each story unearthing a buried empathy he thought long gone. In that moment, reality hit him like a wave. His privileged existence had blanketed him from the visceral truths of life. Despite his growing attachment to her, Adam was acutely aware of the obstacles ahead. The imposing shadows of his wealthy parents hovered in every corner, relentless in their expectations. Upon hearing the gossip about his budding relationship with Sarah, their disdainful reactions felt like slicing knives against his resolve. "She's not our kind," his mother would voice, the weight of their family name looming larger than individual happiness. Each interaction with Sarah deepened Adam's internal conflict. Torn between duty and desire, he faced a dagger of desperation within. How could he continue to juggle the pristine image his parents demanded while feeling the tug of authenticity in his chest? The very idea of confronting them filled him with anguish, as he could almost hear his father's disappointed voice echoing in his mind, questioning his choices with a calculated disdain. He dreaded the thought of shattering the family's reputation, and yet Sarah's unwavering hope inspired him to reach, stretch for something more than perfection. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. As he sat across from his parents one evening, the tension hung heavily in the air, suffocating and cold. His father's eyes narrowed, voice steady and threatening. "This phase with the homeless girl, it's misguided." Adam's chest tightened, and each breath became a labor. The weight of familial allegiance twisted painfully in his gut. Would he delve into love, embrace the uncertainty of it all, or conserve the pristine illusion they had built around him? Shadows of fear loomed larger with every thought, whispering that any wrong move could unravel both his life and the fragile connection he'd painstakingly formed with Sarah. But just as he began contemplating a rebellious step towards his own heart, Sarah's haunting revelation shattered his resolve. In hushed tones, beneath the starlit sky, she exposed a hidden part of her past, a trauma that could tarnish his reputation, disrupt their fragile bond, and leave them both vulnerable to judgment. The harsh dichotomy of their worlds threatened to push them apart, amplifying the stakes beyond comprehension. Now, with his mind racing and muscles tense from the pressure, Adam stood at the precipice of a decision that would redefine his life. Would he brave the shadows of society, Or might he be drawn back into the demanding arms of legacy? As the reality of Sarah's past chased him relentlessly, despair woven with clarity consumed him whole. The air crackled between them, the question lingering painfully. Was there a future in the midst of such profound uncertainty? Adam's heart raced as he lingered in the silence following Sarah's revelation. The moonlight danced across her face, illuminating the shadows of her pain. This was not just a peek into her history. It was a stark reminder of all that threatened to engulf them both. The choices that lay ahead were laden with consequences that could shatter the delicate equilibrium they had begun to build. Every fiber of his being buzzed with conflicting emotions. He stood on the brink of a decision that could redefine not just his relationship with Sarah, but everything he had been conditioned to prioritize: family, reputation, and the revered legacy of his forebears. The dichotomy was agonizing. Did he have the courage to embrace imperfection and vulnerability over inherited expectations? The prospect of love tugged at him fiercely. He felt the magnetic pull of Sarah's spirit urging him to act. But lurking behind it was a wall of fear, fortified by the weight of his parents' expectations. Their judgment could raze everything he aimed to build. Was it worth the risk, he asked himself, the words echoing uneasily in his mind. This very moment felt monumental, yet it shimmered with uncertainty. He shifted his gaze from the stars to Sarah, who seemed to be holding her breath, waiting for him to respond. In that pregnant pause, he recalled the hollow conversations with his father, the endless debates on surface-level topics that avoided the deeper reality of who Adam truly was. The thought stung. Rejecting the fear of his parents' scorn was tantamount to rejecting a part of himself, the part that had endeavored to fly free from gilded cages. "Tell me more," Adam finally uttered, his voice coming out steadier than he felt inside. He wanted to learn more about Sarah's past, her struggles, because understanding her was vital. It was in peeling away the layers of her life that he might discover the truth that connected them both, beyond the gloss of societal masks. She hesitated, but the sincerity in his eyes encouraged her. "I've survived things that people can hardly imagine." She spoke softly, drawing him closer into her world. "There were moments when I felt invisible, when life seemed determined to bury me beneath the weight of it all." Her admission struck a chord, revealing the jagged edge of resilience that echoed in his own life. There had been moments in the operating room when precious lives hung in the balance, that he had faced his own shadows, testing the boundaries of his skill and his worthiness. He had been blessed with talent, yet every stroke of success came shadowed by a constant need for permission from the legacy that cast its long shadow over him. "Sometimes it's the very scars that make us who we are," he said, surprising even himself with his own truth. He began to see parallels between their lives, a shared essence that transcended the confines of their social standings. Sarah's eyes widened slightly, a glimmer of hope breaking through the weight of her angst. "You mean that? You understand?" "I think I'm beginning to," he replied, his resolve simmering. "I've spent too much time trying to please others instead of understanding my own heart. Maybe it's time for both of us to confront our pasts." The air thickened between them as they explored this new potential, each tentative step toward understanding nudging Adam toward a possibility he had only whispered to himself in secret. The threads of societal pressure still tugged at him, but with every shared revelation, he felt some weight shift, some chains loosen. But as the hour grew late and they lingered in their newfound connection, a chilling reminder soured the air. Adam knew that unveiling their truths would not shield them from backlash. Being exposed to each other also meant opening themselves up to others' judgment, particularly that of his family. The precariousness of their bond niggled at him, underlying the vibrant promise of affection. Could he stand firm against the tide of condemnation from his parents? The reality of their expectations loomed large in his thoughts, weaving threats into the burgeoning hope. With a slow exhale, Adam understood this was not just about Sarah's past, but about his own testimony, a personal narrative emerging amid untamed waters. With resolve, he pulled Sarah's hands into his own, a pact forming between them under the starlit sky. Whatever we face together. As the promise settled in, the moment crystallized. His battle was not just against his family's expectations, but against the very limitations he had placed on himself. In that clarity of intent, a new chapter awaited in their intertwined fates, but with unpredictability unfurling like the twilight. Above them, the path ahead felt both exhilarating and terrifying. And as they shared that solemn promise, the echo of his parents' voices surged back, taunting him with their disdain. The resolve was there, but the chaos of confrontation loomed as he realized the road to acceptance would require facing not just his demons, but the familial titans who had forged his identity. What path would he choose when the moment of truth arrived? The morning light streamed through Adam's window, illuminating the myriad thoughts racing through his mind. The previous night's conversation with Sarah had dug a quagmire of conflict into his heart, relentlessly thumping and pulsating with questions he had long avoided. Was he truly ready to unearth the roots of his identity, challenging the very essence of who he had been molded to become? As he prepared for the day, the tangy scent of coffee wafted through the air, mingling with the persistent unease that hung over him like a storm cloud. He grabbed his white coat, glancing in the mirror. The familiar professional facade offered a momentary reprieve from the internal chaos, yet its reflection only highlighted the fracture within his dual existence. There he was, Dr. Adam Harris, the successful surgeon, the golden child of an esteemed family, yet beneath the surface stirred a man torn between societal demands and personal desires. The drive to the hospital felt interminable. Every car that passed, every passerby he encountered, represented fragments of his life. Each smiling face a reminder of the expectations that consumed him. He could already envision his father's critical gaze, dissecting his every move, judging every moment that veered away from the calculated path his lineage had laid out for him. At the surgical center, noise buzzed all around him, an orchestra of urgency and precision. As he scrubbed in for his first procedure of the day, the sound of instruments clinking and nurses calling out commands offered a peculiar comfort. The operating room, the sanctuary where he commanded respect and salvaged lives, felt like the only place he truly belonged. Yet, even there, dread lurked in the shadows of his mind. How could he excel professionally while wrestling with the very essence of who he was? As he commenced a delicate operation, every incision demanded focus, but his thoughts drifted to Sarah. He remembered her story, the pain, the survival, her raw honesty under the starlit sky. Each heartbeat of that memory pulsed like the rhythm of his scalpel. He wondered how one could be truly whole in their profession without embracing who they are as individuals. "Dr. Harris, you're drifting again," his surgical assistant murmured, snapping him back into reality. "Sorry," he responded, shaking off his distraction. The truth was, distance from his past felt unreachable, mirages shimmering in his mind. How much of his life had been dictated by false expectations? As the procedure concluded successfully and the patient was wheeled into recovery, a seed of determination unfurling within him. Could he genuinely embrace the part of himself overshadowed by familial demands? Was there a way to honor both his profession and his heart? The day unfolded with an endless stream of patients, but Adam's mind continued circling back to Sarah, their shared moments, the pact they had forged. He realized that perhaps it wasn't merely about facing what lay ahead for them, but also delving into his own fears, confronting his family's legacy with a defiant heart. His resolve deepened as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows in the empty corridor of the hospital. With each passing hour, clarity emerged through the chaos. Maybe it was time to rewrite his narrative. No longer would he be tethered by a childhood of conditioned responses. But that was the crux of it, wasn't it? To confront the dichotomy of who he was and who he wanted to be would require an inevitable confrontation, not just with his parents, but within himself. As he gathered his belongings, Adam felt the pull of inevitability swelling within him. The time had come to face the contradictions head-on, to dismantle the carefully constructed walls of legacy and approval. This reckoning wouldn't be easy, nor would it come without consequences, but perhaps it was the very challenge he needed to reclaim his spirit. And then, as he stepped out into the cool night air, a nagging thought flickered into focus. Was he truly prepared to face the wrath of his family, the final duel against the heavy shackles of expectation? The moment of truth was drawing near, and Adam knew he would likely have to summon an inner strength that he had yet to discover. What would he uncover about himself in the tempest that was coming? The day after the momentous decisions lingered like a thick fog in Adam's mind, each passing hour fueled by a growing urgency. As he sat in the hospital cafeteria, staring into the lukewarm cup of coffee that had nearly become a lifeline, the surrounding chatter felt like a distant echo. He was there, yet his mind was far away, swirling in contemplation. Thoughts of confrontation loomed, the specter of his parents' expectations heavy on his shoulders. The weight of legacy pressed down like a boulder. At that moment, Adam realized he could no longer pretend. His father's voice rumbled in his mind, critiquing his every wavering desire. Yet he felt an ember of rebellion sparking inside him. Could he truly embrace the unknown? The essence of challenge and unpredictability both terrified and exhilarated him. After scrubbing in for another surgery, he found temporary solace in the operating room. The steady rhythm of the procedure offered him rare clarity, a sanctuary where he could forget the world outside. As he positioned himself over the patient, the sterile scent of antiseptic filled his nostrils, cementing his focus. In the depth of life-saving work, the surgical incision felt like an incision into the layers of his own guarded psyche. With every stitch, he questioned, "Am I healing others only to wound myself?" Post-surgery, the acknowledgement of his internal struggle echoed louder than ever. He caught the eyes of a fellow surgeon, Dr. Matthews, whose offhand comment landed deeply. "You seem off today, Adam. Everything okay?" "Just thinking," Adam responded, forcing a smile, but the truth twisted within him. He was wrestling with revelations dangerously close to the surface. Returning to the locker room, he caught sight of himself in the mirror again. Not the polished surgeon everyone admired, but a man barely holding on to an identity defined by others. He remembered Sarah's vitality, her courage to confront her own strife. He thought about her stories of resilience and how she had uncovered strength from pursuing her true self despite relentless adversity. Would she understand the turmoil suffocating him now? Or would she see him as just another lost soul afraid to step into the light? That evening, Adam resolved to meet Sarah again. They needed to talk, not just about them, but about their individual journeys. A yearning for meaningful exchange ignited within him, a wish to share the layers of vulnerability that had previously remained hidden. Could such a candid conversation forge pathways to authenticity in both their lives? The drive to the cafe was short yet agonizing.
Each stoplight felt like an eternity, spurring his nerves and apprehension. What awaited him wasn't mere discussion. It was a reckoning where truth would unravel like a delicate thread. As he parked and stepped out into the vibrant street, the air buzzed with life, a stark contrast to the hushed dread he felt inside. "Maybe this is your moment," he whispered to himself, a mantra to summon courage. He came ready not just to confront Sarah, but also to unearth the manifold aspects of himself he had long buried under layers of expectation. Inside the cafe, the atmosphere buzzed with laughter and conversation, yet he felt distinctly isolated. Spying her at a corner table, laughter escaping her lips, a jolt of nostalgia surged through him. The woman he had once admired sat there dazzling and alive, while he felt a creeping darkness radiate from his core. She nodded when their eyes met, the spark of connection reigniting. Taking a breath, he approached, but the reassuring warmth of her smile only amplified his turmoil. He had to break free from stifling norms, but would it come at a cost? As he took a seat, ready to unveil the turmoil within, a voice deep inside whispered trepidation anew. Would their conversation illuminate paths they could take together, or further entrench them in the dilemma of conflicting identities? The conversation started, but Adam knew that this dialogue had the potential to shatter preconceived notions or solidify the walls surrounding his heart. What truths would emerge, and at what expense? The stakes felt high, and their shared history loomed ominously over the moment, setting the stage for a pivotal decision. He sensed the impending storm, and as he began to speak, he realized this wasn't just a discussion about him or her. This was about choosing authenticity over expectation, a battle he had to face not only with Sarah, but within himself as well. A clash awaited, and it was a confrontation written in fate. The moment of revelation was closer than he could breathe freely. Would he have the courage to embrace what lay ahead? The conversation began quietly, but the underlying tension crackled like static in the air. Adam looked at Sarah, her eyes reflecting both warmth and curiosity as she leaned forward. The once comforting space of the cafe transformed into an arena where every word could redefine the person he was striving to become. "Adam, you've been distant lately," Sarah said, her voice steady but tinged with worry. "Is it work or something else?" Flashes of his father's voice echoed in his mind, urging him to maintain the facade of a successful life, blending seamlessly into the roles expected of him. He swallowed hard, wrestling with his instinct to let the conversation pivot toward trivialities. But today felt different. "No, it's not just that," he finally admitted, feeling a surge of vulnerability wash over him. "I've been questioning everything, my career, my choices, even who I really am." The moment hung in the air. It was a crack in armor he'd worn for years. The part of him that wanted to retreat, to laugh it off, battled fiercely against the part that longed for authentic connection. He noted the flicker of recognition in Sarah's eyes, a signal that his struggle had resonated with her own. "But what is it really?" she pressed gently, her tone urging him to unearth the deeper layers of his turmoil. "I can't keep living for someone else's dreams," he blurted out, the words coating his tongue with a bitter tang. "I'm a surgeon, and I'm good at what I do, but it doesn't fulfill me. It's all conditional. My father, my family, they expect me to conform, to be someone I'm not." He caught his breath, realizing how liberating it felt to name the shadow that had followed him for so long. As Sarah absorbed his words, Adam's heart raced. She had always been the embodiment of self-acceptance, courage in the face of life's unpredictability. Would she see beyond the image of a conflicted man to the truth striving to be released from his grasp? She leaned back, contemplating. "So, what do you really want? What does authenticity look like for you?" His mind advanced through a maze of possibilities, fears intermingling with desires. I want to heal, not just physically, but emotionally. I want to explore interests beyond medicine. Maybe that means taking risks or even doing something radical. I'm tired of playing it safe." Her face lit up at his declaration, a smile blooming as if fueling the fire she had always known burned within him. "Then let's explore that. What tools do you have that you haven't tapped into yet?" He paused. The question ignited flickers of memories long buried. "I used to paint. It was my escape during undergrad. I dreamt of illustrating the stories of patients, of their battles beyond what we saw in the operating room." The admission felt foreign, yet strangely invigorating, as if a weight had lifted with each word. "Why did you stop?" she challenged, her eyes piercing through layers of apathy he'd wrapped around himself. "Life got in the way? Expectations?" As he spoke, he thought of a life in which he wove art into healing. Patients pictured not just as bodies, but as stories, inquiring to find their resolution. His heart raced at the potential freedom awaiting him, but with it came the daunting reality of change. The cafe bustled with life around them, oblivious to the transformative current flowing between Adam and Sarah. Adam's breath grew shallow, experiencing a mixture of anticipation and fear. The prospect of embracing his authentic self glimmered like a distant star. Yet how would he navigate the shadows of unrelenting expectations? Suddenly, a familiar figure crossed the cafe entrance. His father, scanning the room, the unmistakable familiar scowl etching across his face. Adam felt as though the ground beneath him shifted, threatening to consume his newly discovered aspirations. "Who's that?" Sarah asked, tracking his gaze, the excitement in her tone dampened by the sudden tension. "Someone who I thought I could escape," Adam murmured, a realization dawning. The confrontation loomed ahead, forcing Adam to reconcile the past with his newfound aspirations. Would he choose to confront his father, risking familial ties to carve out his own identity? Or would he retreat once more, allowing fear to solidify the shackles that bound him? The crossroads struck with unsettling clarity. It was a defining moment, one that could either shatter his repressed identity further or forge it anew. Would he take a stand, drawing from the courage sparked in Sarah's presence? Or would the looming expectations chain him to a destiny he no longer sought? Voices fell away, and the potential for revelation hung thick in the air. The time had come to face the shadows that threatened to eclipse his journey of becoming. Adam's mind raced as he locked eyes with his father. The air thickened, the cafe's lively chatter blurred into a dull hum, and he felt as if the world around him had shrunk to almost nothing, just the two of them, separated by a chasm filled with years of unspoken words. Uncertainty clawed at him. Would he remain the son molded by expectation, or could he finally assert his own identity, one wrought from the chaos of choice and intent? "Adam?" Sarah's voice broke through his tumultuous thoughts, bringing a surge of clarity. Her presence, once a source of comfort, now felt like an anchor on the precipice of his impending confrontation. He realized that whatever unfolded from this moment wouldn't just define his relationship with his father, but it might reshape the very contours of his future. "Just give me a second," he replied. Guilt hitting him as he spoke. He didn't want to let her down, but defiance burgeoned within him. The stark realization emerged. His father's disapproval loomed larger than life, but the breath he took now felt distinctly unlike any he'd had before. He was no longer just a son. He was an artist, a healer, a man learning to construct his own path. Steeling himself, he faced his father, whose scowl deepened with each step closer. Adam's pulse quickened. Would he maintain the facade of indifference he had held for years, or could he express the turmoil hidden beneath its surface? "Dad," he began, his voice steady but low, fighting against the urgency clashing within. "We need to talk." "What's there to talk about?" his father shot back, authority cloaked in irritation. The edge of his words sliced through the air, but rather than stepping back, Adam stood firm. "I've made choices. I'm not just your surgeon, and I've grown tired of feeling like I have to be someone I'm not." The breeze of conviction swept through him as he recognized the truth that had been buried for far too long. "You think you know what's best for you at this age? All those years in medical school didn't teach you anything about responsibility?" His father's tone dripped with condescension, and for an instant, Adam felt the weight of their history bearing down on him. "I've learned enough to know that your dreams don't have to be mine," he countered, the rush of defiance fueling his resolve. "I want to explore healing through art, and I want to face the world outside the expectations you set for me." The two men stood locked in a silent battle, and Adam's heart thundered against his ribcage. Would this moment dislodge the blocks of fear that had fed into his inaction, or would he walk away defeated once again? He glanced back at Sarah, her expression an encouraging beacon, urging him onward. It was her faith in him that ignited a spark. He envisioned the stories he once wanted to tell through paint, the emotional narratives of his patients that deserved a voice. And now, at this critical juncture, he could reclaim that vision, not as a burden, but as a source of strength. "I'm going to take that leap," he declared, the gravity of his intention settling into the space between them. "It may not align with your expectations, but it's my life to live. I need you to understand that I'm not afraid to fail anymore." His father hesitated, the stern expression wavering, revealing a fissure of confusion in his demeanor. There was a flicker of emotion breaking through, but as quickly as it appeared, he masked it with indignation. "You think you can just abandon everything? You'll regret this." That threat hung in the air, electricity humming between them. Adam felt the urgency. "I'll take that chance if it means discovering who I truly am," he asserted. The words cascaded out of him, rich with emotional resonance. The man standing before him, his father, was not only a figure of authority, but a representation of all the weighted expectations Adam had carried for too long. As the tension thickened, the distance expanded. Was this truly what freedom felt like? An eerie blend of liberation and uncertainty? Before he could decipher his father's next move, the door swung open, the cafe's warmth spilling forth into the cold outside. "Yes, I do," his father finally said, his voice low and trembling. "You'll see when you're left with nothing but your so-called freedom." A chill ran down Adam's spine. The confrontation that had felt like a breakthrough now seemed like a precarious cliff. Yet something deep within stirred, a resolute determination beginning to anchor him solidly against the storm of his doubts. As he stood there, uncertainty settling within each heartbeat, he made a silent promise to uphold the path already unfolding before him. He had reached a threshold, readying himself for the steps beyond, family ties, and the chaotic art of self-discovery. But would he muster the courage to walk that narrow line separating hope and the fear it entailed? The silence between them thrummed. A quiet tension awaited resolution or upheaval. Would he break free from the oppressive hold of expectations, or would the churning tides of familial loyalty drag him back to shore? In that lingering moment, a new, tantalizing journey beckoned. Would he embrace the transformation or shrink back to a past that no longer reflected who he had yearned to be? The cafe buzzed around Adam like an unrelated hum, stark against the pounding in his chest. For the first time, he no longer felt tethered to his father's dreams. Yet the weight of the patriarch's disapproval rested heavily upon his shoulders. Adam's resolution warred with the remnants of familial loyalty, prompting a tumult of thoughts that threatened to cascade into uncertainty. He stepped outside, the brisk air striking his skin as if awakening a dormant warrior within him. The sun, low in the sky, cast shadows that danced against the pavement, a reminder of the split paths before him. He could either retreat back into the expectations that had engulfed him for years, or forge ahead into the uncharted territory of his own making, reckless yet exhilarating. Sarah's eyes were bright, but clouded with concern. "You okay?" she asked, voice gentle but probing. "Just trying to catch my breath," Adam admitted, glancing back at the cafe, where his father remained, a stoic figure in a crumbling fortress. "I think I've finally done it. I put myself out there, but what if I can't follow through?" "Trust yourself," Sarah encouraged, her unwavering faith in him a soothing balm. "You've already taken the hardest step. It's up to you to create the momentum now." Her words haunted him, yet they ignited a glimmer of confidence. In the days leading to this moment,
the unexpressed yearnings to embrace art had swirled within him, invisible yet potent. He had long suppressed the artist's instincts in favor of precision, a scalpel over a paintbrush. The realization curdled in his gut, pushing him to find a balance, a bridge between the rigid expectations of his profession and the chaotic, lively colors of his passions. "I need to make a plan," he finally said, the adrenaline still coursing through him. "I won't let this moment slip away. It's time to explore how to merge everything I want to be." As they walked, Adam envisioned a space that allowed both sides of him to coexist. He needed to navigate through not just his own aspirations, but the methods to achieve them without tearing apart the delicate tapestry of his identity. Each step toward transformation beckoned a realization that success needn't signify a battle against his father's legacy, but a collaboration of his own making. The mood shifted as they reached a nearby park. Vibrant canvases blanketed a small area, artists immersed in their craft, discussing technique as patrons meandered, observing with rapt attention. A stir ignited in Adam's chest. The energy there felt electric, a stark contrast to the weary air of the cafe. He could dream here, resonate with others who had persevered through rejection, yet still found solace in the act of creation. "Look," Sarah pointed, towards an artist painting passionately, his brush dancing across the canvas, weaving a story of color and emotion. "You could be that person, telling your story, reaching others." Adam stood, captivated. He could envision the melodies of healing, colors pouring onto canvas as he infused each stroke with emotion. Suddenly, the fear of rejection seemed minimal compared to the thrill of possibility. Perhaps art was the bridge, the means to balance healing and expression. "I think I'll sign up for a class," he said, a subtle tremor of excitement lacing his voice. "That's amazing, Adam," Sarah beamed. But as he looked at her, a tinge of apprehension emerged. What if the risk of exploring his dreams only brought him further from his father's approval? Dare he challenge the legacy of sacrifice that had paved the way for his surgical career? Letting a breath wash over him, he refused to relinquish his plans. "My mentorship might have to start elsewhere," he muttered, internally wrestling with his father's intricate web of expectations. "But I can still be both." As they moved from the park towards a nearby studio to gather further information, Adam felt a new conviction setting in, awareness dawning on him. The confrontation with his father was only the beginning. He steered his thoughts toward crafting a future that fused resilience, artistry, and the healing essence he had long desired to embrace.
What began as a tumultuous schism between duty and passion was slowly transforming into an opportunity for synthesis. But just as hope began to bloom, an unsettling thought settled within him. Could his commitment to self-discovery lead him into deeper conflict with his father? The tension brewed quietly, ready to unravel. What awaited him after this initial step? Could this leap push him further away from his familial bonds, or would it fortify them in an unexpected way? Adam stepped into the art studio, the welcoming scent of turpentine mixed with wood and paint swirling around him. It felt like a world apart from the sterile environments he had become accustomed to. This was a space that celebrated creativity rather than precision. The soft hum of conversation intertwined with the soft brushes gliding on canvas. He approached the reception desk cautiously, his heart still echoing the confrontation from earlier. "Are you interested in signing up for a class?" the young woman behind the desk asked, her enthusiasm palpable. He nodded, forcing a smile as he scanned the schedules. Each class felt like an invitation to untangle himself from the expectations that had bound him. "I want to explore painting and maybe some mixed media, something that allows for freedom." "Great choice! We have a beginner's course starting this week," she replied, her voice warm and encouraging. "Art is all about expression. Don't worry about technique at first, just let the colors guide you." Letting the suggestion sink in, Adam made a mental note to embrace the unpredictability. He signed up, the weight of ink on paper feeling heavier than just a commitment to the class. Each stroke of the pen felt like it was sharpening his resolve. The exhilaration was short-lived, however. On the way home, dread washed over him, merging with the hope he had felt earlier. Was he really prepared to dive into this new venture? The nagging voice of doubt whispered warnings. What if he failed? What if his father found out and graphed it as a betrayal? Adam tightened his grip on the steering wheel, frustration bubbling up as he contradicted his own desires. At home, he stood staring at a blank canvas, stark and intimidating. The white surface symbolized a realm of possibility, yet it felt like the harsh reflection of his internal conflict, a battleground of identity. Picking up a brush, he swirled it through vibrant colors, watching as they blended, danced, and resolved into shapes that were both chaotic and beautiful. Could he allow himself the freedom to create? Each stroke brought a semblance of clarity. With every flick of the wrist, he pushed through the self-consciousness that had shackled him. It was not just about painting. It was an act of rebellion against a life dictated by others' expectations. But the more he painted, the more he was faced with a glaring truth. His father's looming presence resided in every brushstroke. The intensity with which Adam painted could not drown out the voice of disappointment echoing in his mind. Was his father right in wanting him to remain a physician? The fear of displeasing him tied a knot in Adam's gut. The next few days blended into a series of classes that merged joy with anxiety, where he laughed with classmates while fighting lethargy born from unresolved conflict. Each evening brought renewed questions about his commitment. What would happen when his father noticed he was missing from family dinners to attend classes? Would his father see him as a failure? Yet, along with the fear, was a hint of resolution. The studio became his sanctuary, a refuge where the soft music reverberated like the pulse of creative life. Meetings with fellow budding artists, strangers turned companions, provided a window into perspectives he had never considered, stories that resonated with his own search for direction. One evening, lost in a swirl of colors and textures, Adam met a woman named Mia, whose abstract pieces prompted conversations that peeled back layers of self-doubt. "Art requires courage," she told him, her eyes sparkling with passion. "Embracing your voice means taking risks." Her wisdom flickered like hope, yet a counterweight pressed against his heartbeat. Could he transform his love for art into something profound? Or was he destined to remain squarely within his father's aspirations? As he grappled with these thoughts during a late-night painting session, Adam's phone dinged. It was a message from his father, a simple inquiry about dinner plans. The weight of the world seemed to rest on their correspondence, redirecting his mind to the confrontation looming on the horizon. The moment of truth drew nearer. He could either reveal the artist awakening within him or retreat to the safety of conformity for fear of judgment. Would this leap into creativity push him closer to his father's expectations, or lead him into a new identity, one that challenged the very fabric of his upbringing? The anticipation thickened. Decisions needed to be made, and the time had come to face not only his father, but also the core of who he had become. A swirling chaos of colors surrounded Adam as he stood before his easel, the challenge of unexpressed emotion bubbling beneath the surface. The vibrancy demanded a release. His heart raced with the thrill of possibility, yet tethered by the weight of expectation. Every stroke felt like a defiance, a challenge to the identity his father had constructed. Walls he had built around his own desires were beginning to crack. As the days in the studio progressed, Adam absorbed not just techniques, but the stories shared by his classmates. Each reflection of their lives resonated with him, igniting embers of inspiration that flickered into flames of ambition. He had engaged in conversations filled with vulnerability, loss, and triumph that wrapped around him like a warm cloak, helping him realize he was not alone in his struggle. The artists surrounding him each carried their own burdens, yet transformed them into art that spoke volumes. Mia's words echoed in his head. Art requires courage. A rush of determination set him ablaze. Yet as the fire burned, a creeping shadow loomed. The thought of confronting his father became increasingly daunting. Would bravery in his artwork translate to fortitude in his life outside the studio? Would bravery in his artwork translate to fortitude in his life outside the studio? He decided to turn to painting as an outlet to confront these feelings. One late night, perched on an old stool, he tackled a canvas draped in hues of chaos and disorder. The resulting piece was abstract and tumultuous, nothing like the precise representations favored in the medical world. Yet it was authentic. Each erratic line and splatter an expression of the turmoil bending his judgment. It rejected perfectionism in favor of true self, a reminder that life was not about control, but authenticity. The next evening, when a couple of additional layers were applied to the chaotic expanse, Adam noticed something. Throughout this journey, he had unconsciously begun to grow bolder in his brushstrokes with each passing class. He was no longer tentative. He was alive, embracing uncertainty as a necessary companion. It was exhilarating, yet terrifying to confront the truth of what he wanted, far from the sanitized life in medicine expected of him. In this newfound creative space, Adam shared his work with a small group of peers. As they offered feedback, something shifted within him. At last, he felt seen. Their encouragement took root, watering seeds of self-validation he had previously neglected. Each compliment built a scaffold, lending him the courage to stand taller in his own skin. The mirror of their acceptance forced him to face the insecurities that had plagued him for years. But this bright energy was met with an encroaching darkness as his father's voice whispered warnings from the shadows. His phone buzzed again with another message, this time asking him to arrange a meeting to discuss his future. A part of Adam wanted to bury himself in color and canvas, to ignore the ticking of time that led him closer to another decisive interaction. Once again, the duality of his existence loomed large and insistent. The conflict erupted within him. Was he still the dutiful son who sought to please? Or was he starting to cultivate his own narrative? In a moment of clarity, he committed to a bold decision. Adam decided to paint a piece that would encompass all he felt, a magnificent tapestry of expectation and longing, hope and fear. As he prepared the canvas, his resolve deepened. The juxtaposition of his father's dreams and his own aspirations would lay bare his journey, a reflection not just of rebellion, but of understanding and acceptance. But the real challenge lay ahead. The thought of exposing this piece to both his classmates and ultimately his father filled his gut with a tense anticipation. Would this artistic expression break the chains of expectation, or would it tighten them further around his throat? With each brushstroke, he found himself both pushing boundaries and inching toward a confrontation that could either liberate him or imprison him more firmly than ever. As Adam layered paint and emotion, he couldn't help but wonder, was the artist he was becoming potent enough to withstand the weight of the unyielding father he had been raised to please? With paint-stained hands, he paused, staring at the canvas. The masterpiece awaited completion, much like the journey of self-discovery that lay ahead. Would he allow his true self to be revealed, or retreat again into familiar confines? The moment of truth whispered on the horizon. Days passed, and Adam immersed himself in the creative process, feeling as if he were simultaneously building a bridge and dismantling a wall. Each stroke on the canvas became a revelation, a channel for the thoughts and fears that had long been pent up beneath his immaculate surgeon's facade. His artwork, vibrant yet disorderly, was a testament to the very real struggle of reconciling familial expectations with his burgeoning ambition to explore a different path. His forthcoming exhibition at the studio was a mixture of excitement and dread. As he prepared to unveil his piece to his classmates, a nagging thought lingered. How would his father react? The social pressure of meeting expectations tied his stomach in knots. Yet, amidst this tension, the whispers of courage began to weave their way into his heart. Finding validation in a community of artists who embraced their multifaceted experiences fortified his resolve. "Just be authentic," Mia had said during another late-night brainstorming session. Her faith in his work brought forth a fresh wave of determination. Adam paused before the canvas, knowing that this was not merely a piece of art, but a visual testament to his journey, one that had shaped him profoundly. Finally, the evening of the exhibition arrived. The studio was buzzing with energy, walls adorned with the stories of varied souls. Adam stood before his finished piece, hands trembling slightly, staring at his tempestuous creation that rung with emotion, an undulating tapestry echoing the chaos of expectation and desire. This was his truth. It felt both liberating and terrifying to present it to the world, and especially to his father. As familiar faces mingled, Adam felt a weight shift. The fear of judgment loomed, yet it was tempered by an overwhelming urge to breathe deeply, to share his narrative. The moment crystallized as he caught Sarah's eye across the room, her encouraging smile buoying his spirit. Together, they had formed a pact of understanding, a commitment to pursue authenticity. When his father entered, Adam's heart raced. The man who had loomed large in his success now stood at the periphery of his truth. Charles Turner, a titan of medicine and a man of stern judgment, no longer seemed like an invincible force, but a man facing the very possibility of his son's liberation. "Your work?" his father asked, skepticism lacing his syllables as he approached the tumultuous canvas. "Is this really what you spend your time on?" "Yes," Adam ventured, fueled by resolve. "It is. This piece embodies who I am and the journey I've endured. It's not just art, it's healing. This is my story. The air thickened, suspended in a moment of heavy judgment. Adam's chest tightened, but he refused to back down. He stepped closer, his voice steady as he continued. I recognize the expectations placed upon me, but I can no longer ignore the parts of myself that don't fit within that narrative. Charles narrowed his eyes, wrestling with emotions that shifted and settled rapidly. The sterile, clinical world their family had inhabited contrasted sharply with the vibrancy adorning the gallery walls. A flicker of angst crossed his father's face. "But you're a surgeon. Your life has been mapped out. What are you doing?" Adam squared his shoulders, feeling the embers of courage spark anew. "I'm redefining my journey. Learning to create is not a rejection of who I have been. It's a celebration of wholeness, a testament to my resilience." The tension practically hummed in the air, and Adam braced for impact. Yet, surprisingly, his father's gaze softened. For a moment, it felt as though a connection formed amidst the tension, as if both were grappling with the stirrings of vulnerability. "You really believe this is what you want?" Charles finally asked, the authoritative armor cracking slightly. "I do," Adam replied, the weight behind those two simple words carrying years of struggle and hope. "I want to heal, to explore, to embrace the complexities of who I am, both as a doctor and as a person." Silence enveloped them as Charles studied the canvas in front of him, reflecting on the layers of color and emotion. Perhaps, beneath the surface of titles and expectations, a bridge was forming, a space not just for acceptance, but for understanding. Without warning, the strength of their confrontation pivoted. "I was never one for messy art," Charles admitted, voice thick and shaky. "But if this brings you joy, then perhaps I have always underestimated what joy looks like." The flicker of agitation in Adam's heart turned to something gentler, acceptance. "It doesn't have to match your dreams, Dad, but I hope you can see mine." Charles inhaled deeply, smoothing over the lines of resistance that had carved deeply into his face. "You won't be alone in this. I suppose embracing change requires as much courage as any surgery." Their exchange felt like an awakening, a realization that echoes through the very foundations they had both built upon. The towering expectations did not dissolve, but the dialogue had unfurled a space where possibility soared. In that moment, Adam felt a rush of hope and bravery transform into something tangibly solid. As he stood before his father, a sense of clarity washed over him, a recognition that growth and acceptance did not require severing ties with one's past. Instead, they emerged as intricate layers of life, reflective of both turmoil and beauty. The exhibition proved to be a myriad of connections formed, laughter shared, and stories exchanged, a tribute to the transformative power of art. Adam had not just released color onto canvas, he had conceived a narrative that defied simple definition and thrived in the richness of complexity. From that evening forward, Adam continued painting, not as a departure, but as an integration of his skills in medicine and artistry. The canvas became a sacred space where healing took form, where patient stories found resonance, not simply within sterile walls, but amidst swirls of color and emotion. With newfound resolve, Adam Turner had forged an identity that blended two loves, healing through medicine and healing through art. As his story evolved, he recognized that the most significant achievements weren't confined to accolades, but lived within the authenticity that reflected who he had always desired to become. And from that moment on, he continued to redefine what it meant to live purposefully, stepping into a horizon where growth and courage coalesced, igniting every aspect of his life with the transformative power of self-acceptance. Now, as passionate souls everywhere share their stories and journeys, Adam Turner emerges not just as a surgeon or an artist, but as a man who bridges worlds, reminding us all that embracing one's true self is not only a personal triumph, but an inspiring narrative waiting to be told. You need to subscribe now to this channel to be captivated by more exclusive emotional stories that inspire transformation. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep this journey reaching those who need to hear it. Comment below with your thoughts, reactions, and theories about this incredible conclusion. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this powerful resolution. Show your support for personal overcoming stories and be part of our journey together.